it's not like when I started creating content, I was like, I cannot fall off the algorithm. Like,
Yeah.
I always have to be on top of it and everything. Because to be honest, I actually didn't even know about it then. I think I only really found out about it when I was doing more research about my channel. But I think it is a thing because I feel like with... Honestly, it was a joke. Well, not really a joke, but like it was just a hobby, like something that like I would just want to do, like on my regular days. But I think the main reason why I actually started is because I have this thing of like wanting to take up space wherever I am. And I didn't realize it until I actually studied the things that I do. And I'm like, okay, I always want to keep myself busy. I always want to serve a purpose wherever I am. So I think that's really why I started my channel. It's not like I was like, okay, I want to have 1,000 subscribers. I want to like get paid from this. It was more of this burning feeling inside me just to like take up space. So I think that's really why.
Fair enough. And then when does it become almost like a serious thing for you? Because I say serious because like the consistency with which you've approached it with speaks to like something being like a big part of your life at this point. When did it become that for you?
I think when I realized how much potential I truly have and how much support I have as well. Because obviously when you start, you're just like, you know what, I'm just enjoying this, I'm just uploading videos and that. But then when you see people hyping you up, when you see people saying, you know what, Yemu, you've actually got this, that's when you're like, okay, damn, maybe I actually do have this. So I think that's when I realized that it could actually become something that I regularly do. And that's when I also really discovered how much love I actually have for it. So to be honest with you, I actually don't take it that seriously, but I understand where you're coming from. Like when you see how consistent I am in everything, it seems as if like, it's my, you know, job and everything. Exactly, Kubasa. But honestly, I really just have fun with it. Like,
I mean, you say that, but serious in the sense of like the commitment, I think, not serious in like a life or death type thing.
Yeah.
But I say that because, like I was saying just before we started recording this, you've uploaded like 92 videos, I think, at the time of recording this, right?
Yeah.
And there's been like 108 or 107 weeks since you started. That's almost like a video a week. That's like
I think I missed like just a few weeks.
The only time that I can remember is January 2022 through February. I think that's the only time there was like
that's like my break. That's my usual break.
Yeah, where there was like no uploads and I was looking at your channel. How do you achieve such a level of consistency and why is it like so important to do that?
Okay, so I'll answer the second part of your question. I think one thing about being a content creator, actually anything in life really, if you truly love it and if you want to see results from it, you have to be consistent. Like you have to, if you're going to ask people to subscribe to your channel, you have to give them what you owe them, for lack of a better word. But I think the first part, which was how do I manage to be consistent?
How do you actually achieve that level of consistency?
I think I love it. I think like that's the first thing. I love it. I enjoy it. The results as well. It's fulfilling when I see what I'm doing and I see that people actually love it. So that's where most of the motivation actually comes from. Because people love what you're doing. So you feel the need to stay consistent, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
But also, one thing about me is that once I start something, I want to see it through. And I really give up on things unless like something happens. So I think it's also just one of my attributes.
Fair enough. So you talked about managing to, you touched a bit on staying motivated, right? And I hadn't like scripted this, but one of the things that then comes to mind is like creative block, writer's block. Have you experienced that, and has it like ever affected the output on your channel?
To be honest, I haven't. And now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds like a lie. Because people usually experience that. But I think what I do experience is imposter syndrome, where I'm like, people are saying that I'm doing really well, but am I actually doing really well? And sometimes that's what draws me back. So in terms of creative blog, not really, because I feel like when you're consistently putting something out, it's going to be harder for you to not find something to talk about. If that makes sense. So it's actually on the other hand where I get imposter syndrome and stuff, where I'm just like, am I actually that good? Like, are people actually watching my content because they love it? Or it's just exactly, are people keeping up with the vibes? But yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. It's always odd when I sit with creatives and they say that a lot. They point to imposter syndrome a lot, right? And I always find that odd because I feel like I have like the opposite of imposter syndrome. I feel like, which is probably as dangerous as imposter syndrome. It's just like swinging from one extreme to the other, right? But you touched there on never necessarily running out of things to talk about. So one of the things that I see kicking the ass of vloggers is they run out of of content, right? They run out of ideas. So for you, how does that work? Like, how do you get to decide, hey, this is like worth vlogging about, and this is maybe a bit too boring or a bit too mundane? How do you get to decide that?
I think I'm very fortunate with the types of vlogs that I do, or like the type of content that I release, because it's mainly lifestyle, so like literally how I live my life. So I feel like when you do that type of content, you're literally picking up the camera to vlog what you're currently doing. And I think the downside to that is if people don't find you entertaining, then it's going to be hard for you to consistently put out content. But then I think I'm very fortunate enough to have subscribers and to have supporters that love me for me. Literally, like, if I'm going to go and buy my groceries, they're going to enjoy that. So I think that's how I managed to just consistently put out content, because I'm just remaining myself and I'm just authentic and just showing them how it really is.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember like the first video of yours I saw, which was like a while back. I think it was you had a friend of yours with you. And you guys were, it was like an ask me anything type thing. I'm forgetting, but it struck me as like entertaining, or at least more entertaining than vlogs had done. And this is not something I'm saying just to gas you because you're here. But let's move on to one of the biggest questions. I'm tired of trying to answer this question and failing, because one of the biggest questions people always ask me is, "Zimbabwean as a YouTuber?" And I first have to explain to them that I'm not even monetized yet. So I can't give you, like, I know how it works, but I can't tell you with confidence what it would look like on my end. You are monetized.
Yes.
So I'll just ask you the same question.
Of course,
in what ways?
I feel like at the end of the day, if you're going to be putting in so much effort, you're also expecting something back. Like, that sounds a bit selfish, but to be honest, that's just the way it is.
This is how it is.
Yeah, but the monetization process on YouTube is actually very difficult, in my opinion, because you're required to have 1,000 subscribers, overall, and you have to have 4,000 watch hours in a period of 12 months. So it's not like a year, but 12 months. I'm going to explain that.
Something like last 365 days.
Yeah, exactly, actually. The last 365 days. So with me, I think I reached 1K subscribers in December 2021. 1? Yes.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I think it's 2021. I'm pretty sure it's 2021. And my biggest worry wasn't subscribers, to be honest, because I feel like I had enough support for people to subscribe, people to share to their friends and family, but it was the watch hours. Because a video of mine, like a regular video, is like, let's say 15 minutes, and that's only a quarter of an hour. So I'll need 4 people to watch that video in full for that to count as 1 hour.
It's 1 hour.
And we all know how people are with YouTube
and you need
videos.
like 4,000 watch hours.
Exactly, you need 4,000 watch hours. So honestly, that was a huge task that I had. But I had to stay consistent. I think that's also one of the reasons why I really stayed consistent with my content, because I had a goal for myself and I told myself I have to do it. Because what happens is once you reach the 365 days, they start deducting the number of hours that you had. So if you started in December 2020 and now it's December 2021, your hours from December 2020 are going to be
like
so it's going to be a huge task. So I just told myself, you're going to have to push yourself, upload a video every single week, force your friends to be on YouTube, literally. I got my 4,000 watch hours. I actually went over the 365 days and now I was watching my hours go down. And I remember I actually cried.
Wow.
I cried and my mom was like, no, it's okay. And then I got my 4,000 watch hours and honestly that was just amazing. A breath of fresh air.
Fair enough, man. I understand the sweat because I'm trying to get monetizing.
Yeah.
Especially like the watch hours part.
It's
that
a lot.
gets crazy.
It gets crazy. It really does.
It's way harder than subscribers, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, you really need to get people to watch your videos, but I got it and I'm truly thankful. And now we're monetized.
So that's monetization on the YouTube side of things. But another thing I've seen you do this is collaborating with brands as a creator.
Yeah.
Naturally, my question there would be, for a collaboration to happen, who approaches who, or is that a seasonal thing where if you're still like a smaller creator, you do most of the legwork, and then as you grow, that changes? Like, what's that dynamic like?
Honestly, I think it's a bit of both, because obviously when you're starting off, you're not on their radar yet, so you're going to have to do most of the reaching out. And honestly, that can be a very, very tedious process because you're constantly sending out emails, but then you're getting nothing back. Or sometimes you get something back, but then you're not really for the brand type of thing. But then once you get enough numbers, if I can use that word, they start reaching out to you. And honestly, sometimes I actually reach out to the brands as well, especially when I want to work with a certain brand and they haven't reached out to me or they haven't noticed me. I will have to go out of my way and just send them an email saying, hello, I absolutely love everything you have. Would you be open to a collaboration? So that's really how it works. It's a two-way thing.
And maybe like important context is this like for Zim or Australia? Because I know now you're like based in Australia. Is this something you're still doing when you're here as well, or?
Before I left for uni, I did collaborate with, I think, two main brands, and it was a gifting type of thing where they would give me stuff and then I'd advertise for them. And for them, one of them I applied to be a brand ambassador type of situation, and then the other one reached out to me. So but then in Australia, I told myself once again, Yemu, you're going to have to do this. So I reached out to a brand and then worked with them for a while, and then I stopped because they were not really like my thing. And then brands started reaching out to me. But then whenever I want to branch out into a new field, like for example hair or clothes or whatever, I have to reach out first, for sure.
Fair enough. Is this because like the brand hasn't seen you in that space?
Exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah. They need to see that you can actually do
what you're saying.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. And then so you touched on something that's interesting there. You said one of the partnerships that you did in Zim was like a gifting type thing. So what kind of partnerships are there? I'm assuming it's gifting, one, and then there's so with the gifting, do you return it or you keep it?
Yeah, you keep everything.
Okay, fair enough. And then there's paid collaborations. So which is more common and which do you prefer, like as a content creator?
I mean, like as you said earlier, everyone loves Zimbabwean, so paid collaborations ultimately they're really just the best. But I think the more common ones, to be honest, especially with smaller creators, is the gifted collaboration, where basically they gift you their products and you have to advertise for them. And yes, you get to keep the stuff.
Yeah.
You don't pay for anything, you don't pay for shipping, you don't pay for duty, you don't pay for anything. Pretty much they're just giving you, and you just have to advertise. And that's what I started with when I was starting up, because obviously my numbers were not that great in terms of followers and subscribers. So I pretty much didn't really have an audience that the brand would want me to market to.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a gifted collaboration. But I then got into paid collaborations, which I absolutely love, because you still get free stuff. You still get free stuff, but you're also getting paid on top of that. So you decide your own rates, how much you want, and you basically just discuss with the brand. And then there's also a type of collaboration, I think it's called a co-sign, if I'm not mistaken, where basically the brand actually asks you to design something with them. So, for example, with Bonang in South Africa, I think it was the Steve Madden brand where she got to design shoes with the brand. And that's how they basically market the whole thing as Bonang's brand.
Shoe collection. Or
exactly that. Yeah.
Fair enough. I hear that. So yeah, we've established kuti zvine mari, or at the very least zvine gifts. you leave with something.
Sure. Now you leave with something.
You leave with something, right?
Yeah.
The question then I would ask you is your process from the. I think we've touched on this a bit, but not really like explicitly. What's your process like from the ideation of a video? I think you touched more on that, which is you're basically vlogging how you live, essentially, to what we see as the final video. So from that stage to that final video, so let's leave ideation out of it.
Okay.
This is like becoming such a long-winded question. I hope you stay with me.
I get what you're trying to say.
But essentially, from like editing, distribution, that's rolling it out, maybe just take me through what your process is like.
Okay, so obviously, like before the video, I'm gonna touch again on ideation and everything. I have to plan that, okay, I'm gonna film this video, and let's take one of my chit chat videos, for example, because obviously those ones require more planning than the regular vlogs. So it's one of those, okay, so I'm gonna film a video about how I traveled to Australia, the documents that I needed and everything. And what I do is, at least a day before I film, I go into my notes app and I pretty much just type everything that I'm going to have to touch on in the video, because I feel like this helps with not being all over the place when you're filming the video, because I find that very annoying, to say the least, when you're watching a video and someone is explaining something but they're literally just all over the place. So at least if you categorize your things and you say, okay, I'm going to touch on this, then touch on this, it's more entertaining for the viewers as well, and it's more understandable. So that's what I do first. I just categorize everything, and then on the day I have to wake up in a good mood. Like, that is a must. It is a must.
What does that mean? Does that mean like if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you're gonna push the recording to maybe like the next day?
Pretty much, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Because it's one of those, like, once you're annoyed or once you're not really in the mood to be in front of the camera, the people that are receiving the video are going to be able to tell.
Oh, like your energy.
Yeah, your energy, exactly. Because I feel like also naturally I'm a bubbly person. So whenever my energy is like low, it's either I'm sick or I'm just not in a good mood. And honestly, I don't like to put out that kind of content because that's not me, type of thing. But so I have to wake up in a good mood. I have to make sure that I'm really feeling up to it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to push the video back. And then I pretty much just set up my camera and just film and just talk and just ramble. And then I get to the editing process, which is honestly enjoyable but also a nightmare sometimes. Because, I mean, you're in this. You know, sometimes the video goes wrong, you can't find footage or whatever. But I pretty much edit for my chit chat videos maybe like 2 to 3 hours, which is one of the shorter ones actually compared to my vlogs. And then I just press upload.
Fair enough.
And that's it.
Fair enough. So it's crazy that you say that, and I'm gonna ambush you here. But how I actually came to discover your channel is because someone sent me a link of a story, if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram, where you were complaining about something like not rendering.
Yeah.
And then I texted you. I was like, split it in half and then render the first half.
Oh, did you?
Something along those lines. And then I watched it when you uploaded. That's how I came to actually see your YouTube.
Yeah.
Your process sounds kind of beautiful. Mine,
What is it like?
I don't know. The videos are long, so I can't take 2 hours because first I have to watch it the first time, and then we color grade, and then the audio, and then B-roll. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do that, like watching the content first before I start editing, and then I realized that it was just taking way too much time, considering that I had school as well.
It takes a lot.
So I was just like, just edit it as you go.
This is taking my life. This is taking over. So, like I said at the start of this, I was watching a video of another vlogger, and they were like citing you as an inspiration, right? And so, I'm not gonna say like you're a famous person, but you're a person who, there's definitely like a subset of people who, if you get to a place, they'll be like, that's Yemo.
Yeah.
So the reason, and I'll give context, the reason why my face never appears in this is because I would rather not have that.
Yeah. No, I get you.
I'd rather just go and like buy bread in peace and not have anyone be like, hey, yo, you're that dude.
You're right.
Yeah, because I'm naturally a bit more mellow, like my personality.
Yeah.
So I feel like if someone came to me and said that, I wouldn't be able to like match their energy.
Yeah.
And they would feel like, this guy, I know that. But it's just like, no, I just don't have energy like that, right? So for you, is there like a pressure that comes with that, with like people constantly being able to like recognize you, or just the fact that people go in your comment section and they're like, yo, you're like a role model for me. I suppose, does that complicate your life in any way? Because you're a person, you might make mistakes, and you have all these people depending on you.
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest, because I think one thing that my brand is centered on is inspiration. Like what I hope to achieve in everything that I do, everything that I create, is to inspire people. So when people then say that you actually inspire me and your inspiration is a bit like, but obviously that's also what I'm aiming for.
That's the point.
So it does get to me sometimes, like when I go out and people are like, that's Yemurayi and this and that. And honestly, when I was still in school, still at school in Australia, some people would recognize me, but then it wasn't that magnified, because obviously most of my supporters are here back home. So when my friends would tell me that, the friends that have been on my channel, they would tell me that, yo, your subscribers came to me and they were like, I've seen you on Yemurayi's channel. That's when I was like, damn. Okay,
this is like a big thing.
We're really doing this. So when I then came to Zim, and I think my first weekend out, I had people walking up to me, people saying, oh my goodness, I love your channel, this, that. I was like, okay, we're doing this. And honestly, in the moment, you can't freeze. Like you can't just stand there and just be like, like you're going to have to, or maybe that's because that's just the type of person that I am. I'll give the same energy back. So I'll be like, what's your name? How old are you? Blah, 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 blah. And just get to know them better. But I then realized that I think in like my second week or like third week, and it's funny because like even my subscribers don't know this, but I guess now they're going to know.
Let's go.
I kind of had a phase where it's pretty much anxiety, to be honest, where I'd be like, if I go out, there's definitely going to be someone who's going to recognize me. Are they looking at the way that I'm grabbing the breads? Do you get what I mean?
You become like really self-conscious.
Yeah, exactly. And that was really getting to me. And obviously my friends were like, Yemu, let's go out. Yemu, let's do this. And because I'm not really the person to be like, guys, I can't, or like, guys, it's really affecting me and this and that. They didn't understand me. They were like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? But then I just had to explain to them that it's giving me a bit of anxiety when I'm out and people are recognizing me. And I remember there's this one girl, I was at Village and I was buying an SD card. from, was it Focal Point? I don't remember. And then this one girl just came into the shop. She came in running and she's like, oh my goodness, I love your YouTube channel. And bear in mind, I'm in the middle of talking to this guy that I'm trying to buy something from. And obviously, like, you don't know how to act in that situation because you don't want to be rude to your supporter, but then at the same time, you don't want to be rude to the person that you're buying something from. So I think that was one of the situations that really just threw me off, but in a good way though, because I had to learn from that. But then I told myself that this is going to become bigger than what it is right now, and you basically just have to buckle up and just deal with it, really. So enough. Now I just embrace it.
Yeah, fair enough. Life goes on.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. I think the last thing I'll ask you is about the algorithm. So a lot of the times people talk about the algorithm in a negative way. I've never really like heard people like gassing the algorithm up, like it's doing things for me. I always hear people saying their content was doing well and then suddenly it like nosedived. And they attribute that to the algorithm. I don't think I've ever experienced this because I've never created with like that in mind. So I'd like to ask you, is that like, in your experience, do you think that's a thing?
To a certain extent, yes. But then honestly, I feel like I'm actually more like you. Like, it's not like when I started creating content, I was like, I cannot fall off the algorithm. Like, I always have to be on top of it and everything. Because to be honest, I actually didn't even know about it then. I think I only really found out about it when I was doing more research about my channel. But I think it is a thing because I feel like with everything, there has to be a system in which things work. So obviously, if you're going to stay consistent, your videos are going to be,
let's say, brought up.
Exactly, brought up more. I actually forgot the word that I wanted to use, but they're going to be suggested more. Exactly.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, they're going to be suggested more to the viewers. So I think that's what the algorithm is. But honestly, I don't think it's an actual thing where they set it up and they're like, okay, this person is gonna fall off, this person is on it and everything.